Okay, Year 4, so what we're going to be doing today is a little bit of colour theory, something quite simple, and we're going to combine that with a shading exercise. This is to go along with the Impressionist work that we've been looking at so far, and then we'll move into a different way of using the colour to make a different artwork. So what you need is a lead pencil. Make sure it's nice and sharp, needs to be sharp. I'm a lover of a sharp pencil, nice and sharp. You'll need something to draw a circle around. I've just got a lid of an old dry shampoo. And then you're going to need these two colours. You need to have green and you need to have purple. These are the only two colours you're going to use. You can use different shades of them. It's probably actually even easier if you just use one pencil. So only green and purple. Green and purple are what are called harmonious colours. So they're in harmony with one another. They sit next to each other on the colour wheel, which makes them work together beautifully. And in some of those paintings we've been looking at over the last couple of weeks from Claude Monet, you would have seen a lot of purple and green in his water lily paintings. So we're just going to do a little bit of work with purple and green and shading to give three-dimensional effect. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, make sure your pencils are sharp, of course, is to just draw a circle on your page around an object that you have there. Okie doke. So then you're just going to take purple and I'm just going to sit down now. You're going to begin shading. So we're going to imagine in this drawing that the light is coming from here. So there's a lamp or something and it's shining down onto this side of this circle. Then what you want to do is start to shade that circle. So you want to start with the darkest point being here, because if you have a circle with the light coming this way, the darkest spot's going to be underneath here. So we're going to start by shading this part quite dark. And it's a good idea to decide, it doesn't matter which way you decide, with your drawing to make sure you're going in the same direction. So I'm choosing to go this way. You could go this way as well. But you need to follow the shape of what it is, you know, what the shape of the thing is that you're adding color to. Okay, so because this is round like a ball, thinking of a ball shape, I need these lines to follow the lines of the edge of the drawing. Now what needs to happen is as you come around the ball, and imagine it's a curved shape, you need to start lightening up your color. Okay. So the further around you go and the closer you get to this light source, so imagine the light falling onto this. You could imagine that might be what the moon looks like. You're going to keep shading, but you get lighter as you get closer to where the light source is. Got a ball somewhere around here actually. I can grab it. Can you see that? If you can see that in the camera, you probably can't see because the light's coming from above. But you can definitely see that there's a light on top. It's a bit hard to see there because I don't have another light source to use. So as you're going around, lighter and lighter, lighter and lighter, until there's hardly any pressure at all when you get to the very top. And that starts to give a sense of a three-dimensional shape. Okay. So what we might do is even make it a little darker in the bottom here. I don't know if this purple's any darker, I don't think it is. To give it even more three-dimensionality. And understanding how to give three dimension to objects when you're doing drawings actually helps when you're drawing things like heads obviously balls, anything that's got a rounded surface on it, so a cylinder, fruit, if you wanted to draw some fruit, that's going to be round. So you want to have this appearance by using shading to get that effect. Okay, so now we need to think about, we want to have a shadow here. So where's that shadow going to be? If the light's coming here, well, let's make the shadow be, let's make the shadow like this one. So if we imagine that the ball is round, we're not imagining, we've just drawn it round. The shadow needs to be where the light cannot hit. Yep. And it's an important thing to remember about shadows. They are rarely ever black. They usually have some sort of color in them. Now at this point, you're going to introduce some green. So it's just going to be a really light shading of green, not too heavy, because you want to just sort of work out if you're happy with that level of color in there. So we want to try and maintain this circular shape, but we just want this green to come in underneath here. And we're also going to bring a little bit into this spherical shape. Again, not too heavy, not too much. It's just a light shading. Okay. So when you're drawing, you just keep kind of playing around with it to see how the different... And another thing I like to do when I'm drawing is actually make my eyes go fuzzy when I'm looking at the item that I'm drawing, to see if it, it should go a bit longer, to see if it looks like I think it looks. Because sometimes when you look too hard, you stop being able to see what it is you're drawing. Okay. So when I do this, if I'm imagining that this light is coming from here, and it's probably, you know, coming from all here, where would it stop being able to go past the edge of the ball? And it's about here. So if I come down, I might even want to take that out a little bit longer than that. And then I'm going to come back in with a bit more purple again. And I'm feeling kind of happy with that. You can see that the shadow is quite, it's a gentle shadow, I'd say. It's not a hard shadow, but we can put a bit more colour in there. So now we're going to do one that's going to be with green instead of with purple. And again, we're going to have the light source coming from that same direction. And now on this one, I might make the lines go this way just so you can see the difference. So if you sort of imagine that this is going to be the shape we want to get, but the light is hitting on here. So we don't want that to have too much colour in it. I don't know if you could actually see that on this video, but okay, keep it going. See, on this one, oh, I did sort of go that way as well, didn't I? I probably should have gone that way this time. Never mind, we're going this way now. So if the light's hitting here, from here up needs to be a fair bit lighter than down below. Because if it's the round shape of the ball, that's... So I'm going to come in a bit darker down here again. And that should start to give us that three-dimensional look. But you just keep working it up. It's never, you never usually get it quite as you want it with one pass. You normally have to sort of work back into it again a few times to get just the color or just the depth of tone that you want. But you can see that even with a colored pencil, you can still get the kind of form and tone that you could easily, more easily get with a lead pencil, because lead pencils, you know, it's just going to be black and white, right, or grey, but colour can be a bit tricky. So this is just to start getting used to the idea of working with colour. So now we want the shadow below. These little guidelines here are showing around about where the shadow might hit. So I start to draw a little idea of a shadow there. And then I'm going to go back to get purple again, and then I'm going to work, actually I'll get this other way, I'm going to work purple into here because it's a harmonious with green. It's not opposite, it's harmonious. And what using these sorts of harmonious colours does is it kind of makes the other colour sing or pop out a bit more than it would if you used the same colour. You can also do the same thing using complementary colours, but we're using harmonious for today because we're looking at Monet in particular, and his use of this colour combination was very, you see it a lot in a lot of his water lily paintings. So I'll put a little bit more in here. Probably went a bit far down here, but that's okay. All is not lost. Come back around here. Okay, so we're just doing a little bit of a mix of the purple and green there, and it starts to make it look darker, but it's not black. And you'll always have a bit of light in here in shadows as well, maybe not quite that much, but you'll have a little bit of light there because that's just how it is. If you have a close look, you'll see. So what we like you to do for this little exercise in art this week is to draw 2 spheres like this using purple and green only. Don't use anything else but purple and green. And then what you want to do is give a 3-dimensional effect to your sphere by using much darker here, going around to lighter at the top. And if you've done this before, that's fine. You get to do it again because it's one of those skills that's actually, it's good for resting your mind as well, but it's also just good for understanding dimension. If you want to be a designer of any kind, design buildings or video games or cars or anything like that, if you want to do design, knowing and understanding 3-dimensionality is a really helpful thing to have. And look, I could go on for hours doing this because I look at it and go, no, actually I want it to be a bit more, to have a bit more shape to it, a bit more depth, a bit more form, and you can work into it a bit more. So that's all you need to do. Use purple and green, and then just take a picture of this and put it up onto the Google Classroom in the assignment. All right, beautiful. Thank you.